Good.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Ferdinand. You know, you and I had, and good evening to the viewers. It's really great to be here. Quite unexpected. I told Dr. Ferdinand since I had done Monday, I said to you, man, you can do Wednesday. And we had a discussion about that, I think up to this morning. And I was telling you,
Yes.
I'm going to take a rest,
Yes.
etc., etc. And while I'm putting together the show, and you know, I'm dragging, and I want to go and lay down, I want to rest, and then oh, the blue, I
Boom.
look, boom,
One big
boom,
boom. One big explosion.
an
Boom. Breaking news.
explosion, an explosion. And that's why we're asking the question
Uh,
tonight. So I had to come on to ask the question: was Mr. Hope Houses fired, right, or did he resign? And to ask about the 60 million. All right, because we've been asking about that 60 million that was in the HCF fund, and we have not no we don't know what has happened to
Not
it
up to
yet.
now.
$60 million, and the houses are not there. Right?
10,000, Marcy, I think. 10,000 homes, was it supposed
Yes,
to
this
be?
this is a 10,000 homes man here, he and his government, and he's gone, but we don't know about the 60 million. But so, you know, we had to come on, folks. You need to share and to like, because these moments are very important. This is a government, Dr. Ferdinand, who ran on a campaign of transparency,
Yes,
a
yes.
campaign of integrity, a campaign against corruption. This government, and I don't know exactly why. I have a lot of questions to ask tonight. You know, one, was he fired or did he resign? Where's the 60 million from the house, the Hope Project? Where is that? And exactly why was he fired or resign? Did he, you know, resigned? Exactly what is the reason? All right, so lots of questions to ask. Lots of questions to ask. Okay, so let's look into, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, I know we'll put that back up very soon. If I'm not mistaken, this is the third minister that has resigned, isn't it?
I believe it is, Marcia. And not only the third minister that's resigned, but of course we had the firing of Senator. Oh goodness, her wonderful
Haynes.
young.
Well, well,
Yes,
well, well, well
yes,
they will say it was on firing, but it was a similar discussion, and then
yes,
you know, she
yes,
turned in her resignation.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so it's a
Politically
similar.
correct expressions.
Yes, 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 yes. So, you know, you want to do the honors, Dr. Ferdinand, and read for us this article for those who have not seen the article or know what's happening. What's the
Well,
news?
I will say that Dave will have to make it a little larger now. I know he knows I have glasses, and I believe he might be thinking that I can read that easily. But I'll do my best. All right. So just go back up, Dave. Let's read what's under the caption there first. Member of Parliament for St. George South, Dwight Sutherland, has resigned from his portfolio as Minister of Housing, Lands, and just go back up. Housing, Lands, back up to the article itself. Right. Thank you so very much. Housing, Lands, and Maintenance. And incidentally, just to be clear, folk, he has not resigned from Parliament. He has resigned from Cabinet. So we're told. He is no longer a minister. All right. Starcom Network News has confirmed this development with Mr. Sutherland, who said that while he has resigned from his portfolio with immediate effect, wow, he has no plans of leaving electoral politics. Interesting. I would have thought, Marcia, that it would have been more specific. He has
Hmm.
no plans of leaving the government in terms of elections, but I find it rather interesting leaving electoral politics,
Hmm. What are you thinking there? What are you thinking?
I don't know, I wonder if I wonder if he might cross the floor, I don't know.
To
We can
where?
only speculate. Well,
To
there's only
where?
one other place he can cross the floor,
Oh
to
Lord,
go,
listen,
you
listen,
know.
listen. As far as I'm concerned on that matter, as far as I'm concerned, as a citizen of Barbados, if he going to cross that floor, he need to be able to say what happened to the $60,000, the
60
sixty
million,
million,
60
the
million.
$60 million,
Yes,
and
he has
and
to
he would
come.
have to state exactly why. Why did you resign? Are you having
Yes.
health problems? Are you having a sick child at home? Is your mom in the hospital?
Uh,
Do you have a life-threatening disease? Why
mm,
did you resign, Mr. Sutherland? If I were Thorne, that is what I would be asking. But I do agree with you that it seemed like a little opening is there. He says he has no plans of leaving electoral
electoral
politics.
politics. That's right.
It,
That's right.
that,
And it would seem to me that if, and I know it's not your personal life is not the, everybody's business, but when you're in public life in a real sense, Marcia, it is everybody's business. Nobody asked you to be in public life, you chose to be there. And so if you choose to resign, as was indicated, for personal reasons, then it might have really touched the sympathies of the Barbadian citizenry to know what those personal things are. Like you said, it could be an illness with his wife. I have shared with the Barbadian public here on the show and in other areas concerning the sickness of my wife, my wife's illness, and her having to travel and so on. Why? Because I'm in public life, and I don't want people seeing me out and my wife is not with me. Of course, when it comes to pastors and ministers, as soon as they see you out without your wife, questions are raised. I had a question, believe it or not, Marcia,
Hmm.
raised once with my daughter. I was out with my daughter, and somebody called my wife and told her that I was out with some other lady.
Mhm.
So it's a case where I think, once you're in public life, I think there's a bit more explanation required. And you never know, it might be something that is in such a aspect that it might have got the sympathy of the people.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, I would love for Dave if he could play, if he has at hand, could play the Prime Minister's response. I believe we've sent a little clip for you. So I'll give you some time. It's in your WhatsApp, some time for you to put that up. But
Marcia, I'm looking at a comment made here on the show that just now on CBC, Mr. Sutherland has pledged his allegiance to BLP and given Chris Gibbs and the government his maximum support on CBC News.
that's wonderful. I think because I don't see where Howie could cross and to go with Thorn. Thorn, I can't see Mr. Thorn. I can't see why he would accept him over there.
Well,
you know,
he might have gone as an independent, or you never know,
as
he
an
might have gone with
independent, well,
with another
yeah, that's
party.
fine. But I don't see what, because if I was part of his constituency, I would have many questions for Mr. Sutherland.
Yeah, and
But
again, Marcia,
mm,
he represents a constituency. Was he constituency consulted before he made his decision with regards to? Of course, he's not resigning from Parliament. He's pledged his allegiance, but he's still accountable to the constituents, even as a
yeah,
minister.
yeah, even as a minister. So let Dave just go ahead and play for me this clip. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Barbadians. After discussion, I received earlier today a request from the Honorable Dwight Sutherland to be relieved of his ministerial portfolio in housing, lands, and maintenance. I have accepted his request. He will remain as Member of Parliament for St. George South. This has been a request driven by him for personal reasons. I have asked, accordingly, the President of Barbados to appoint the Honorable Christopher Gibbs, Member of Parliament for St. Michael West, as the new Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance as of tomorrow's date effectively. I thank you for your attention, and I'd like to thank both the Honorable Dwight Sutherland for his service to the government, while at the same time looking forward to working with the Honorable Christopher Gibbs in this new portfolio. Thank you very much.
Mhm. Let me just say here that, looking at the just watching the Prime Minister on the screen here, I want to say to you, Prime Minister, you need to be worried. You need to be worried because I believe that this is the first, well, in this season, because this is the third that has been the third minister that has resigned and one across the floor. I'm my it is my belief that there are more there are more in there that you're going to see resigning, because I think this is this there is a what I call a cesspool of corruption. And this is not alluding to whether it was corruption why Mr. Sutherland resigned, but I am saying I believe there is a cesspool of corruption that is happening inside this government. And the reason I say that is that you would have heard me on the show many times. I would come on and I would speak in parables, because I can't call people's names on here.
Yes, yes.
And you would hear me talk about young men, young bright Barbadian men who are, whether they're in fashion or they're in the arts, etc., and they have to get a grant, and they might have applied for a grant. And one of the things that these young men are saying to me and to others is that quite a number of our young men, when they are supposed to get a grant, or they believe that they might get a grant, that they're being asked to do, sexual favors for the grant.
Wow.
And
Wow.
we're talking about a government here. And so I want us to remember some of these things that I was saying online. And while I could not say the names of these people, and I'm going to go through a couple of them tonight, and this is why I'm saying to the Prime Minister, you need to be worried. There are young men that are walking and telling people in Barbados that there are people in government that they have to bend over in order for them to get a grant, in order for them to move ahead. There are young ladies that are pregnant, where there are people in government that are supposed to, they're supposed to take care of these people in need. And notice I'm using government to be wide, right? A wide term. And where they go to get help, and young ladies are being molested. There's a young girl right now in a particular constituency pregnant. The family member contacted us about it. There is a lot of it's a cesspool of corruption and nastiness that is happening in this BLP government. I can't call names on here, but I am telling you that is what is happening all up and down this government. And I have used this program to call out to those in the LGBTQ community, those of you who are advocating for LGBTQ rights. And I've asked you on air, some of you have spoken to off air, and I said, so what about the rights of these young men? What about the rights of these young men who are in need? And they go knocking on the door of government, and government officials, it's being alleged, are telling them, well, you've got to do this in order to get this. What about who's advocating for those young men? Huh? I think that some of you might have remembered too that I was on this show and I told you about a young man who was threatened by somebody in government. You remember I told you about that.
Yes.
Threatened by somebody in government, and a little later in the night he was shot. The person in government said he was going to shoot him, and it happened right here in this country. I'm not calling any names. I'm not like Sherry Veronica, who I want to big up this evening. Yeah, but I can't call names. But let me tell you something that has happened right here in this country. People that we look up to, and that poor young man is not able to this day, not able to get any justice for what has happened to him. That is the kind of Barbados that we are living in. corruption. It's a cesspool of corruption. And I saw this thing on Sheriff Veronica. I want to use this time to say to you, Sheriff Veronica, that while obviously that there's no way I can agree with everything that you do, ma'am. It's just very different from what I do. And but I have to say that you make me wonder, Sheriff Veronica, if what you put out yesterday had anything to do with what happened today.
Wow.
Is it true that there was a Sutherland gang? I'm asking a question. Is it true there was a Sutherland gang that was running St. George South scared? A question. Did what Sheriff Veronica put out yesterday, did that have anything to do with the resignation or the firing today? And it says here, Sutherland gang busted. Sutherland. Okay. Is it true that the St. George residents are feeling safe again? I don't know. So I'm just asking some questions. I know some of you will say you don't, Sheriff Veronica, whatever. But what I want to say also here is, if it is connected, because I don't know, if it is connected, we're looking here at the power of social media. Because if that cybercrime bill was in place, Dr. Ferdinand, and if it is connected, because you and I, we don't know that, and we can't assert that. But if there is any connection with what Sheriff Veronica put out yesterday and what happened today, you could see why people in government are going to want to shut down social media.
Yes, absolutely. And you can see as well, Marcia, why they want to pass that interception bill.
Correct. Because then they would be able to look into the people's phones and they would be able to know who sent it to Sheriff Veronica. If it is, and a big if there, if it is connected, right? They would want to look into the people's phone and they will find out who did it. But according to Sheriff Veronica, the people of St. George were willing to give up names. And she said she had names listed. And
That's
she
correct.
called, yes, you saw that. And she called the
Correct.
police. And let me tell you, I was alerted to it, that it was there, because I don't normally watch her, but I was alerted to it by somebody in St. George who said, Marcia, a young man, he said, take a look at this. And if it is connected, this woman needs to take a bow, because we often, a lot of us bloggers and a lot of us, we take a lot of hits. People say that we're liars and we are propaganda, we spread propaganda, etc., etc. But I tell you something, this is one of the reasons they want all of this stop, Dr. Ferdinand, is because the potential of keeping them accountable. There is a potential there. And I tell you this, viewers as well. I tell you this, guys, that the Integrity in Public Life bill that they refuse to proclaim, you see, you don't want to do that, because they know that if they do that, a lot of these people, I believe, it's my opinion, that the Integrity in Public Life bill could cause lots of politicians to go to jail. They don't want to proclaim that bill. But I tell you, there's something for you all. It's called social media. And if Sheriff Veronica is right, that the people of St. George cannot stand it anymore, and they reach out to her, well, kudos to the people of St. George. Correct. And to Sheriff Veronica, yes, if it is connected, which we don't know.
Well, Marcia, this is the thing about social media. As you might recall, and we have talked about it before, I've mentioned it, and we chatted a bit about it as well, how crucial it was in Barack Obama's first a successful presidential election in the United States. And he credited social media, the aspect of reaching out through social media. He credited significantly for the success of his presidential run. And you can understand why the government would want to pass a cybercrime bill, to be able to take control of this type of information.